And might have guests in the studio and some on Skype will join us shortly. But the most important guest I'm expecting to hear from will be your good selves. There's a poll that we are running on myjoyonline.com, also on our many social media pages, giving you a list of all the individuals that we believe qualify to be the next IGP and asking you to vote who you think should be the next IGP. I'll be announcing the results of that poll at the end of this program. We want to stay with us for this. But I'm joined in the studio today by Superintendent retired Paul Ayuvi, who obviously has been at the top of the police service before. He's a very senior police officer, and he joins us in the studio as well today. Now, but the main individual, in fact, he's done research on a list of individuals who qualify to be the next IGP. In fact, the research is done was also drawn from feedback from the rank and file of the service across the country. He sent names to people, the individuals in the service, the rank and file, asked them to give him feedback. They returned with a verdict. And he's used that raw material gathered from within the service itself to do some analysis, informed analysis on what the service itself is saying as far as who leads them is concerned, the qualities, who the individuals are, what they stand for, and what they may bring to the ticket if indeed they are appointed. So that research is going to be the bedrock of this conversation. After that, of course, I'll bring you in and others as well, including Emmanuel Kotia, who is Executive Director, Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism, will also join us on that, plus your own views as we will capture in our poll. The man who's done this research and has compiled this, a very detailed work, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Security Warehouse Limited. You know him, Adam Bonaa, is here with me in the studio. He's already prepped and standing with that touch screen behind him, and he's going to go through it. First, before you even go into it, I just detailed the work you've done. Tell us a bit about what went into this research.
Well, good evening to listeners and viewers. Basically, just like you started with your intro, over the years it's been, I don't think we've done anything, analyzing who should be the next IGP and looking at, we are at a crossroad with regards to getting the next IGP. So I thought instead of just leaving it to the executive, it would be good to, do some amount of research into who would qualify, because there's been some polls and most of it are a bit more unscientific. And so let's get, collect data, let's use various means of, trying to sample who should be an IGP. And so if you go into the methods, we, up-to-date profile, there are profiles. We got up-to-date profiles from, credible police sources. We also use interviews. It will be, interesting to note here that we had to speak to about 522 police officers. Seven police officers. Asking them, these are the questions where all of them needed to answer for each of the 12 people. We started with 12, and we had to narrow it down to call it 5.
Based on the responses you got.
Based on the responses.
From the 7 police officers.
From the 7 police officers. So out of that, and you have, speaking to 522, speaking to ex-IGPs. Ex-IGPs are crucial in terms of trying to know what they think. Some of them, not all of, we didn't get all of them, but some of them. Very crucial with regards to, once upon a time, the position they occupied and what they see today and how they see the future. And also speaking to, ex-police officers also formed key. Because in determining who becomes the IGP, if we have to rely on the public, usually the public would not know who. Who is who within the police? It's police officers who probably would know one of their own, who probably would do the work. And so then out of the, the work we did earlier on, we came up with categories, which we then used.
Categories and criteria.
Criteria. Fantastic. So you have...
Let's go through that quickly.
You have education, you have ranks, you have position held in, and then regions worked in, external exposure, you have major arrests and operations, years in service, administration, legacies left, and achievements.
So what he's saying is that this is going to form the basis of your analysis.
Yes.
So when you take each individual,
yes,
you're going to look at his education, his rank,
correct,
position he's held, regions he's worked in, his international exposure, major arrests and operations that he's led and personally made, years in service, administration, legacies left, and achievement. All of them will have to
yes
meet all these
criteria. You know, talking to ex-IGP, some of the ex-IGPs and, you know, ex-police officers, we came up with a marking scheme in which to rate them.
Okay, so in other words, if the president was going to appoint, this, in essence, you're suggesting to the president that please look at
this criteria. Okay. Look at this criteria.
Okay. Now, the most important thing, key thing on Ghana Connect is that because it's also a citizens' conversation, we expect you to have your own expectations of who the IGP, your own criteria. So we'll bring that in shortly. But I also want to quickly go to the questions you asked, because that's important for people.
I might not, because of time, I might not be able to ask all the questions.
Yes.
But I'll just sample. You have, will serve police officers and the general public. This is a question because then, as an IGP, the police officers expect you to lead them, to make sure you represent them. It's the only surest way of, how do we call it, they assisting you in performing your task.
That's a very key. There's a second one that I really like, which is, and this is a question you're asking serving police officers, ex-IGPs, and ex-police officers. One of the key questions is, Ghana will be safe under his or her leadership as IGP. Correct. And so you have the names, these people have the names.
Yes.
And so if you ask, Ghana will be safe. So they say out of the 12, they tick. Okay, so person A, well, okay, I think, if you choose him, Ghana will be safe under his or her leadership. Then they tick, correct?
They tick, and then they give just some brief remarks about why they think so. Then you have, has a better crime fighting skills. As a police couple, one of the major things as a police officer is to be able to fight crime.
Yeah.
That's one of the foremost things we pay them to do. Fight, so you should have the ability to fight crime. Either true in your office, I mean, sitting in the office and directing, or out there fighting it. And then you have a...
No, you can go on. Let's go on. So that's a list of questions. A lot of them that he answered. Let's go straight to the key personalities.
So we had 12. So from where we came from, we were able to now narrow it down to 5.
Good.
So we started with 12.
Okay.
You know, and apart from the deputy IGP, who ranks above all of them, the rest of them are all commissioners of police. Okay. Okay, and so out of that, we narrow it down.
Let's go to the names.
We were able to get, we got COP Beatrice Viv Sanziri. We got COP Kofi Boachi. Then we got Mami Atiwa, who is the CID boss. Then we got Deputy IGP James Opombuenu. And then we got COP Christian Yohonu. Okay. And so this, after the initial work, we narrow it down because then 12 obviously was too much. Was too much. So we needed too many of them, we needed to narrow it down. And so then...
so we are now taking the individuals.
We are now
Let's start with COP Beatrice Zakpa Zibzanziri. Correct.
And so these are her personal information, but for purposes of those who are listening to us, she is she's retiring. She's actually 59 years old. She's retiring this year, but it's up to the president to say, I'm going to give you a year or two to be the IGP. She's married.
We have a current IGP who got 2 years extension. Although
yes, and then the deputy got 1 year to be the deputy, from the Upper West. And so if you look at her educational background, you have, for education, the emphasis wasn't too much on education. Education would only help you do your work. And so we had to mark you over 10. Okay. We had to mark you. And so what we did, if you look at all of them, they might have attended middle school. And so anything from middle school to master's, maybe MBA, MPhil, or whatever. We gave all of them a flat figure.
I'm interested in this, also for our listeners.
Yeah.
So for Madam Zibzanziri, she's very highly educated.
Very highly educated.
I mean, July 2013, had a Master of Science, Criminology and Criminal Justice, University of Leicester, UK.
Correct.
That is a respected institution. So exactly. She's no mean person. May 2006, postgraduate certificate in Criminal Justice and Police.
Yes.
Management. again, University of Leicester,
Leicester,
UK.
yes.
She also said University of Cape Coast.
Yes.
Bachelor of Arts degree.
Yes.
In the 1980 to 1985.
Many years ago, before a lot of Ghanaians were born.
Interestingly, she has a diploma in education as well.
Yes. So it tells you that she's actually, you know, developed herself up to the level we find her today. And so if you look at it, you know, we gave her 7, depending on how it was rated.
On education,
she got 7 out of
7.
7 out of 10.
Out of 10.
7 out of 10 on education, because she's done quite well. And if we go through the rest of them, you realize on education, almost all of them actually got 7 out of 10.
Okay, so
then we are now at the ranks. She started as a chief inspector because of where her point of entry as a police officer.
Where did she enter?
She entered as a cadet officer.
Okay.
You know, in 1990, thereabout. No, she started as an inspector. Then eventually she moved on to, you know, police college, and then became an officer. And so you can see from after a year, 89. You know, so from chief inspector, she
entered 88.
Yes.
88 to 89.
Yes.
She was chief inspector.
Correct.
And then she moves on to cadet officer.
Yes. So
that's 89, 90. Then assistant superintendent.
93. Then 99.
Deputy superintendent.
Then you have the year
99, 2003. Superintendent of police.
Superintendent and chief superintendent. 2006. 2010 she was assistant superintendent, and then 2010,
she
got promoted twice.
Deputy Commissioner of Police.
Exactly.
So in between 2006 and 10, she was Assistant Commissioner of Police.
Correct.
Then 16, she goes to Deputy Commissioner of Police.
Correct.
And of course, and then the rank that now qualifies her to be IGP is the Commissioner of Police, which she earned in 2010.
Correct.
Okay.
And so if you look at it over here, ranking, I mean, is so important in policing.
Yeah.
Your rank, and so you would see them sometimes very bitter when they are not getting promoted. And you remember the current IGP said he had to be at one rank for 10 years, from deputy commissioner to, what do you call it, commissioner of police. They don't take kindly when they are due and they never get promoted. And so you can see she's done very well. She's called it's over 20.
She passed through all the ranks.
Not all of them, but majority of them.
Majority of them.
Because then the ranks would usually start from constable class 2, constable class 1, you go to sergeant, and then it carries on to commissioner of police.
Okay. But because of her entry point,
some would enter with professional certificates, some would go in with degrees and all that.
Okay.
And so everybody in the entry point. And so she's called 14.5 over 20, which is very remarkable, because then if you look at her progression.
So on rank, she scored 14.5.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next key.
Regions. Regions worked in, very important. We needed to, you know, put a lot of emphasis on the regions worked in. And the reason is that, listen, most police officers, or some police officers, don't want to move from Accra.
True.
They don't want to move. They just want to be
in fact, they see movement out of Accra as punishment.
As punishment.
Or a demotion.
And so we use this as a criteria. And the simple reason is that if this is going to be used by the powers that be, then chances are that if you are going to be transferred out of Accra and you don't go, probably one day when you are due for some, you know, position, it might go against you if you didn't go. And so over here, she's worked in, and we graded the regions. Police have 11 regions, even though, I mean, we are still using the 11 police regions. We
have the Accra region and the Tema region.
And the Tema region. Yes. And so we have 5, we used 5 major regions. Western region, Tema region, Greater Accra region, the Northern region, and the Ashanti region. And so over here, she's worked in 2 of them. I think she's worked in the Northern region, and she's worked in the Greater Accra region and Tema. And so she's called 7, and you can see we gave her a star.
Well, what does that mean?
The star means that it's stellar performance in terms of movement, you know, around the regions. Looking at her, she's more of an administrative person. But she moved in about 3 of the major regions.
Let's move to the next.
And so she got 10. 7 out of 10.
Okay.
And so then
years
you go
of service,
to
okay.
years of service. She's done 31 years.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of.
That's 5 over 10.
Yes, she scored 5 over 10.
31 years.
No,
I thought you give it 10 over 10.
No, because there are others who score who have done
people who have been there for more than 31 years. Interesting. I want to hear that. Let's move on to the next key thing.
So administration. We call them using administration because the chances we are encouraging them, apart from the day-to-day operations, to be involved in administrative work.
And quickly for her, she's been Director General Human Resource, Coordinating Director at DOFSU, Assistant Staff Officer to the IGP.
First
Commander
female.
Police, first female to do it.
First female.
Okay,
It's
so
important to.
And that's why you give her 10.
Yes.
10 out of 10.
Exactly.
Stellar performance as far as administration is concerned. Let's move on to the next key thing.
So then you have major arrests.
I'm interested in this.
Major arrest over here, the data we collected was from police sources, and she wasn't captured for any major arrest, but that is a bit strange because then someone who I grew up in Tema, someone who was regional commander for Tema, definitely you would have caught some. You would have caught some armed robbers or hardened criminals in Tema. And so, but we didn't have any data. We didn't have to conjecture because it has to be more.
So what it is is that we're not saying that she's not made any arrests.
But we don't have any data.
We don't have any data
on that.
We're certain there must be some arrests, but we don't have the data.
We don't have the data. So we didn't score her.
We didn't score her on that.
We didn't score her.
Let's move on to the next one.
And then you have international exposure.
She's done a lot across the UK, USA, because of the international exposure, schooling, etc.
Exactly. We are looking at a situation where to be an IGP, you should be able to connect with the other countries, because then the work of policing is more international now. It cuts across. If you know how Interpol and the rest
and that's why we score her 9 there.
We scored her 9. So you can see she got a star again.
Because of where she's been.
Because of where she's been. In so many Senegal,
let's move on to the next one.
So then you have legacies left. She expanded DOFSU. That's another 10 out of.
That's interesting. Also expanded Tema region from 2 divisions to 4.
Exactly.
And she's the first introduced e-recruitment in Ghana Police
Exactly.
Service.
I'm sure you know.
That's interesting. DOFSU was awarded in 2008. Was awarded the grand prize, a silver award for innovative service as well.
And I'm sure.
And she scored a 6 there.
Yes, she scored a 6
for her achievement. She's done quite a lot. Yes. Let's move on to the next key thing. So
we have this is Viv Sanziri. You can see this is the bar chart. You can see her rank. She got very high for the rank, which she got 14.
And we're going to put this up for our listeners to view as well. So I want to quickly move on to the next key thing.
You can see
the total score you give her is
60 over 100.
60 over 100,
which is very good.
For Sanziri, she scores 60 over 100 based on the key indicators that you score. Let's move on to the next key person.
Mami Atiwa.
Okay, so this is a key one because there's a lot of talk about this. So let's go into it.
For us, we didn't have to concentrate on the
all that is happening.
The concentration on how police officers see her, how ex-police officers see her. I mean, because then per the interview, she made the mark to be included in our, analysis.
Based on the feedback from 7 officers, former IGPs, retired officers, she made the rank to be there.
Correct. And so, I mean, she was born in '69. I mean, these are not really relevant.
Educational
if you come to education, she's got a master's in business administration. She's a chartered accountant. And so over here, I mean, it goes on.
She's a chartered accountant.
She's a chartered accountant.
She's a qualified, certified chartered accountant, associated with the chartered accounting institution.
And so you can see she scored 7. She scored a 7, which is supposed to be a star, and she has diploma in forensic audit.
She has a diploma from which institution, by the way?
We have to go into it. It's supposed to be somewhere there in here in the main data. Okay. I mean, this is the summary. And so for this. And her work, you realize the scammers, those stealing from the banks and being able to catch, those who steal from banks they work from. If this is what she's been able to.
Because of all the background, she's a chartered accountant, etc.
And so she's been able to catch some of them.
In fact, when we come to the major arrest, I'm sure that will highlight.
Yes.
Let's go to the key thing that she has in terms of the rank, and this is important.
So this is the rank.
Now,
she started with constable.
Okay, so this is the very, very lowest rank possible.
Yes, constable.
Okay.
Constable, they will tell you sometimes you can be an oddly, and when you are oddly, you clean shoes and do. I mean, you kind of.
And this was in 1991.
1991.
Compared to the others, this is a very fast rise. And in fact, the key point to note is between 2014 and 19, she's risen from assistant commissioner of police to commissioner of police, which is what, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. In less than 5 years,
correct,
she's moved from assistant commissioner of police to commissioner of police, and you score her 5.5.
15.5.
15.5 out of 20.
Which is very good.
Yes.
Which is very good, because you realize that even though she entered not too, I mean, in terms of compared to even Vip Sanziri, Vip Sanziri has served 31 years. Mamiya Tiwa is going to be 50 this year, but it looks like she's been able to rise quickly.
Almost all the governments since 2000,
there's something
have promoted her.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, well, I'll not say they have, because you don't get promotions from the government, but the administrations and the various governments have promoted her. So 2006, where John Kufuor was president,
she even received an award.
Yeah, she moved. In fact, under Mills, she got promoted from chief superintendent of police to chief, from superintendent of police to chief superintendent of police.
Yes.
Under Mills.
Yes.
Even under John Dramani Mahama.
Yes.
She got promoted to assistant commissioner of police. Okay.
Correct.
That is a very important information.
So it tells you, you know, she's done quite well.
So she got promotion under Rawlings. Got promotion, and
she served under all of them.
All of them, and under each government she saw promotion.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on.
And so she scored 15 over 20, 15.5 over 20, which is very good. And so
let's quickly run over the regional thing.
So you have the region she's worked in.
Greater Accra Central Region, I see.
Yes,
mainly.
And so not
too much movement
not too much, because per the marking scheme we gave the major regions 2-2-2.
Okay.
And
so she scored her 4 there.
She scored 4.
Okay. So she's mainly played within Greater Accra Central. Let's move on to the next key thing.
So you have years in service.
How many years?
27 years.
Okay, that pales in comparison to Shansiri, who was 31 years. And so you score her 6.
6.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
So you have in terms of administration, she's done quite well. If you look at her background as a chartered accountant, she started as, you know.
To think that she moved from constable in 1991 to 2019, she's CID boss. That's something. You see the lecturer at CID training school, financial fraud detector and investigator, accountant, payroll processing manager, logistic and finance officer, and you give a 10 over 10.
No, 10 over 15.
Oh, okay.
10 over
That's
15.
my mistake. 10 over 15.
10 over 15.
For administration.
The analysts who help do this work,
10 over 15.
They have to squeeze it. So
next,
10 over 15. So she didn't score 10. Yeah, so you go in the international exposure. She's done quite well. You know, recently she was in the
she was at the FBI Academy?
Academy recently. I think it came into the
2019.
news.
And then she also done some work
in Kosovo, Canada, USA, South Africa, China, you know, Botswana, Spain. And so she scored, you know, a star for...
that's 8 over 10.
Yes, 8 over 10, which is a star.
Around. She's been in Kosovo,
for traveling around on behalf of the Ghana Police Service and on behalf of the people of Ghana. You know, so that is how we rated them. And so then we move on. Major arrest.
This is something that I'm really interested in. What are some of the things you found?
Well, you know, arresting scammers. Within arresting scammers and the online, those who have been stealing our stuff online and all that, we didn't find too much.
Particularly in Kumasi and Sinyane.
Yes. We didn't find too much. And so per the marking, she got 5.
And the second one is important because that was a very high-profile case. Arrest of the armed robber who robbed and raped the British
They were terrorizing everybody, especially within the Greater Accra metropolis. These are people who were leaving a certain things behind. They would, you know, rob you. If they are females involved victims, they rape them and they move.
And I remember she did a press conference. That same press conference that updated us on
the infamous
the missing girls. She gave us an update on these robbers who had done a lot of robbery in East Legon and other very wealthy places. And their hallmark was raping the people they robbed.
Living that psychological trauma.
And she was
she led about.
So you score her
5/15.
Okay.
Because we didn't have this. I mean, this is a major one, and so that counted for her. But the rest of them, we didn't have too much data, and so she had 5/15. So then legacies left. You know, the defunct CID training school. She made sure it's you know came back to life, and then you know the first CID boss. I mean,
so the first woman to hold the position of CID boss,
correct. You know, and key. Through her, you know, work, she got a generator, a 30 kVA generator, donated to the training school, the CID training school.
And then this one about spearheading the introduction of financial crime and money laundering curriculum into detective training academy,
which is very important because if you look at the dynamics,
yes, and she spearheaded that
exactly.
Okay, and you scored there what 6
over 10, which is good
on legacies. Yes. So that is Mami Tewa for you, and so you see that her rank is the most in terms of the feedback you got, in terms of the scores you gave her. Her rank seemed to be because of the speed with which she had risen, and that almost all under every government they give her some she gets a promotion.
Exactly.
Okay, so
and
that's
so
key.
You can see she got the rank. She got 15.5. The next she got, which is good, which is you know.
Let's see her total score.
She got 61.
61.5.
Yes.
61.5 over 100. That's a slightly above what the previous Sanziri scored.
Correct.
Let's go to the next individual. Okay, this is another big name.
Commander
Commander 1. COP Nathan Kofi Boakye.
Correct.
And the poll results we are getting on Facebook and my Joy Online is a very interesting, tells an interesting story. We'll announce that shortly, but let's go into the details.
Okay, so
Kofi Boakye.
This is Kofi Boakye, Nathan. I mean, we all know him. I mean, he's been in the service. He's 56 years old.
So he has how many years to retire?
4 years.
Okay,
so he still has some time.
Time is on his side.
Yeah, time is on his side, And you have his educational background.
Yeah, we all know because
until you know, I went in to say we have to do this research and you know analyze them. I didn't know he was a barrister of law. I didn't know.
But that's when he was in law school, he was one of the most brilliant.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that So he happens to have topped
the class.
Yes. It tells you, and speaking to his colleagues and those who have left,
very well
they say he's so smart.
Very smart.
They say he's so smart.
I mean, you don't top the law school.
He's so smart. And so these are things that came up.
When he also went to University of Leicester. Correct. He has that in common with Zanziri.
Okay,
but he got a certificate in police administration.
And he also has a certificate in public administration.
Okay.
And he did full thesis, not the MBA type of
From University of Ghana?
Yes, from the University of Ghana.
But he was in Kenya University.
He is a scientist because he has biochem, you know, that's what he majored in for his first degree. Yeah. And so when you go into his records, you realize he's into ballistics, he's into this, a lot more of science.
And you score him 7. You score him 7 over 10,
which is very good.
Yeah,
which is very good.
But which is just like the previous two.
Like we said, anyone who had from middle school, or middle school to master's degree, we scored everybody 7. And so if you realize from Veep Sanziri to
one of the key trends I'm seeing is that all these individuals, so far we've looked at, are all very well educated.
Exactly.
They're not people you can trifle with. Let's move on to the next key criteria you look at.
So you have rank. He started as a chief inspector. 1989.
Okay, so he also, because of where he came in?
Because of where he came in. And so you realize that over here he scored 14 out of 20, which is very good. 14 out of 20, which is very good. Okay. Yes, he's done well for himself in the police service.
Positions held. He's been in the Western region.
He's been in the Western region.
We know famously was in the Ashanti region.
Yes.
He was in Accra for a while because we know he was in Accra when he did the...
Many years ago, he was a regional commander, and I think at the same time, the operations commander in Greater Accra. And so he's done his bit, and he's back in the Greater Accra region. And so you have Western Ashanti and Greater Accra. So you realize that per our own marking scheme, he scored very well because he served in 3 of the major 3 out of the 5 major police regions.
Okay. So
3 out of the 5.
So
he had 7, which is higher than the 2 normal, we have seen.
Yes.
Which is higher. Some had 3, some had, which is higher.
Yeah, true. It is.
Yeah.
And years of service, 30 years. Just a year more than, a year less than Sanziri.
Sanziri.
But 3 years more than Mametewa. Mametewa is 27 years in the service.
Yes.
Nathan Kofi-Boakye has 30 years. That's a long time to be in the service.
That's a long time.
And you can see that he's really been there and done that.
Yes. And so we scored him again. He scored
7 asterisks.
Still up, 7 with asterisks out of 10, which is very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then administration.
When you come to administration,
I mean, he's done everything.
He's done everything.
From
district commander.
He was a district commander.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we rated them. The truth is that, just like I said, sometimes we are sent out of Accra to a district, and most of them don't want to go. Yeah. And so we use all that as a way of rating them. Okay. And so he served in, and so he had 7 out of 15.
Okay. I've seen he did ballistic analysis, Ghana Police Forensic Laboratory as well. In there, and he was a commander, anti-armed robbery unit. I guess that's the most famous one. When we come to the arrest, I'm sure that will play out. Let's move to the next one.
And so you realize that he's amongst the few who has the kind of, if you go into what he's done or what he's learned, who have it among his peers. Yes.
Okay.
Then you go to major arrests. I mean, he's called Atai
stands out.
Yes, Atai stands out. And there is a saying in the past, we are told, what we gathered, that they used to have Kofi-Boakye 11 in some prison. The Crips, those who have been convicted, they used to play Kofi-Boakye 11 against the others. But the truth is that we scored him. He's arrested Atai, who we all know is in prison now, serving, I think, a life sentence. Ziggy, Mapat, and then it goes on. And you have, so we scored him 10 out of 15, which is good for someone like him. And so you move on to international exposure. He's been there and done that. Britain,
he was in
Egypt,
UK, was in France, Egypt. Ethiopia. On forensic science, ballistic and firearms as well.
So he scored 7 again, a 7-star.
7-star.
Out of 10, which is good.
Yeah. On the key question of international exposure, why would you say that is important for some of these people?
It is important because then, depending on what you've been doing, you are usually sent out to go for further training. And so it is important, if as an IGP, to have already been out there, probably connecting and getting to know some of the best international practices.
It's really simple. I mean, there are things out there already, in advanced countries who are doing real cutting-edge policing.
Exactly.
And so the ability to go and learn and come back is key.
Exactly. And even within the continent, there are several countries that we are doing better than. And so if you over-concentrate on Europe and you haven't done any Africa, then sometimes you think, oh, we are not doing well.
Let's move to the next key thing that he's...
So we have legacies. You're renovating the... we remember when he renovated the Ashanti Regional Police Headquarters, it became big news in the country.
I remember when he was anti-armed robbery, there was a lot of confidence in the police.
Yes.
Because also the way he carried himself about. I know his famous stick, but when you mention Kofi-Boakye, I guess he's one of the darlings of the public because of his role back then and his ability to, he's a fun-loving person as well. So people like that.
Yeah.
Not all serious, but people can rob.
So
legacies, 4?
Legacies, he had 4 because it has to do with the information we have. There again, like I'm saying, it's information we could verify. We didn't want to go in for anything that we couldn't verify. So this is information we verified.
Okay, let's move on to the next key thing, which is, you see again, rank is important.
Yeah, so he had 14, he had 7, 8, 9.5. And so if you go into...
The next major thing I noticed there is major arrest. It's okay, major arrest is key. Because the next one, because he's done a lot of... And he scores overall 63.5% over 100.
Which is higher than
Tiwa
and Sansiri.
Okay. The next one is
Deputy Inspector General of Police, James Oponbuenu.
Okay, so he's currently
the
Deputy IGP.
Correct.
I mean, some may say, if he's the Deputy IGP, it's an automatic way to the top. We'll come to that. Let's move on to the substance of his qualifications.
He should have retired last year, but he was given a year contract.
So for him,
when he was about exiting.
Also, time is not on his side.
Yes, time is not on his side.
Okay, but he was given 1 year.
He was given 1 year.
You've seen other people given 2 years. So
2 years.
He can be given 1 more year.
He can be given 1 more year.
Let's go on.
Yeah. And so you have his education. He is also a lawyer.
He's
also a lawyer. He's been 1984 when he was called to the bar, many years ago.
Oh, he did political science.
Yes.
Law and political science and Lagos in 1982.
Exactly.
He must understand this game very well then.
So you see I kept repeating middle school. He said Abu Doma, LA Primary and Middle School.
Okay.
So this is important to emphasize for the purposes of the young people listening to us. They wouldn't know what the middle school was. I was in the middle school.
So and he scored 7.
He scored 7 out of 10, which is very good.
7 star.
Yes.
And then you move on to his rank. He's chief inspector.
I mean, yes.
He also came in just like those who came in at that
exactly.
level.
So you realize that for the other reason why over here he's called 18.
That is very high.
Because he is the Deputy Inspector General of Police.
Which is higher than all the others.
Which is higher than all commissioners of police.
Okay. That's
so that's very significant.
Okay, so he's the only person so far has 18.
Yes, he's the only person.
Over 20 when it comes to rank.
So when we go to, you realize that nobody beat him when it comes to the rank.
True.
Because this needed to be more scientific.
To the next thing.
Then you have positions held.
Yes. He's done almost everything.
He's done almost everything.
Director General Administration, Director General Services, Director General Police Intelligence and Professional. He's done prosecutions as well because obviously of his legal background, human resource, first chief staff officer to IGP, which he has with.
Yes.
Sanziri also was a
first female. Yes. So you see, in terms of selecting these people, there is something that cuts across all of them.
Yeah.
Either they would have done, so you see Kofi Bachi is a lawyer, and so most of them, Kofi Bachi went to Leicester, Sanziri went to
Leicester
and so you realize that these are people, when you come to Yohonu, you realize Yohonu has some accounting background. So
they've done other things other than just doing policing.
Exactly.
Let's go to
he scored 6 out of 10. Yes.
Okay. And then you go to years of service.
Years in service, 31 years.
Same as Sanziri.
Same as Sanziri.
Let's move on to the next one. And he scored 7.5.
7.5, yes.
Okay, that's higher than Sanziri.
Obviously, because Sanziri, I mean, he's done, what do you call it? If you look at his ranking and other things he's done, definitely he was going to get more than Sanziri.
Okay.
Looking at how this whole thing was rated. And then
his administrative
skills.
He and senior legal officer at National Police Service. You say that he has been a lecturer in criminal law and criminal procedure.
Yes.
Advising the police administration on matters of law, both criminal and civil, and a senior legal officer at the police headquarters as well. And you score him 12.
12 out of 15, which is good. Because he's been in the service for a long time. Yeah. And so he's done a lot of work.
He's a deputy IGP.
He's a deputy IGP. Yeah, he's done a lot of things.
Highest form of administration you can get.
International exposure.
Okay.
We scored him 6 out of 10.
He was also on the United Nations Hybrid Operation Mission in Darfur.
Yes.
That must have been a tough one.
Yes.
But he was also at AMIS, the Deputy Police Commissioner for the African Union Mission in Sudan. That is also very, very high position to have.
Yes.
So he's seen it and done that internationally.
Yes.
You see him also there at in East Timor.
Yes.
That's
far away.
That's a whole world away.
Yes,
it's a different realm altogether.
It's like going
and yet to score him 6 over 10?
Well, we scored him 6 over 10 because others, I mean, if you look at the scheme, others had more. Just like you were asking about Sanziri, and he scored at a certain point, I think years in service, he has 7.5.
Yeah.
And so if you go into the fine details, then you realize why he would have scored less than maybe others, even though if you look at it, he's done quite, quite well. When you talk about
he's been to Africa, Asia, and Europe in 6 over 10. Legacies,
yes.
He introduced what the casino one way. What's that?
I think it's something I have to get the information. It's in the fine details.
Chief Justice in Bonaa
in the
was instrumental in solving that.
Supervised the 2008 elections and its aftermath. Okay. And so these are things he did. As you know, rising up to be deputy IGP.
And I like this for our gender advocates. He facilitated the appointment of female officers into command positions.
Exactly.
And that's important.
So I'm sure there have been other people, since the names of some female serving officers came up as IGP, others have come up to rubbish it. Oh, they can't do it. And so I believe that if this deputy IG was to be spoken to, I'm sure he would
he'll back
it and say, yeah, they can do it. Looking at what he's done.
That's why you score him 10 over
8 over 10, which is very good, because then what he's done, anything that encourages a certain marginalized group, it has to be encouraged. And so we scored him 8, which is a star over 10.
Okay, let's move on to the key thing. And so here we go. The rank is most important in terms of the scores he got.
Then 12.
Administration is next, obviously because the deputy IG. What is his overall score, though?
Let's go and see. He had
64.5 over 100. 64.5%.
Over 100.
Okay, that's the highest we've seen so far. Okay.
So this
is the final one.
No, there is a. This is the final.
This is the final one. So this is
Christian Yohonu.
Christian Yohonu.
Yes.
Let's go into it.
So okay, let's go. This is his personal information. He's 54 years old.
Okay.
Quite young, younger than probably Nathan Kofi Boakye.
He's younger.
But it's Tiwa who is also younger than him.
Okay.
Because Tiwa is 50.
I'm interested to see, for example, his educational background.
Okay, so he
did
an
MBA.
MBA. He has MBA, project management.
University of Ghana.
University of Ghana, MSc, business administration, human resource.
He's a proper University of Ghana person. He did everything there. He did his University of Ghana.
You know, so he also has intermediate, which they call
chartered accountant.
You know, which they call the level 2.
Okay.
You know, today they call it level 2. In the past they call it intermediate. You know, and so if you Okuapimam Secondary School.
Oh, we can go back. It's okay. Good, fantastic.
So
okay.
You have he scored 7 out of 10, which is a star, which is not bad. You know, you can see project management, masters, and all that. Just like I said, from middle school to masters, we scored all of them 7.
Okay,
and so
all of them
for education, everybody had 7 for education.
To the rank in terms of education.
Because we didn't want to, you know, put too much emphasis on education.
Yeah.
When you come to rank, he also started as a constable, so he has something in common with Mami Atiwa.
Okay.
But he from constable, he went to corporal.
Okay.
Then to chief inspector, went up to deputy commissioner, and then came to commissioner.
He's also seen promotions throughout.
Throughout, correct.
Under NPP 1, he saw 2 promotions.
Correct.
Under NDC 2, that's NDC 3 under Mel's.
Yeah.
He saw 2 promotions as well. 2009. Assistant Commissioner of Police. Then he went to 2012 Deputy Commissioner of Police.
Correct.
Okay, and so that's key as well to watch.
Yeah. And when you come to the score, you will realize that he had 15.5
over 20.
15.5 over 20, which is a stellar performance in terms of what he's done.
And then if you look at his regional, he's moved from, he's been everywhere. Greater Accra, Bonaa,
he's done more than all of them, all of his colleagues.
And you gave him 7 asterisks?
Yes.
I thought he would get a 9.
No, I mean, nobody has had a 7 for all the
regional
experience. For the regional experience. We've had 3.
So you can argue,
I think 4.
He will best understand what it takes
to he would understand the rank and file when they are complaining in the other regions if he becomes the IGP. Because we are talking about 5 major police, call them regions.
Okay.
And he served in, Greater Accra region. He served in, and so he's at least served in Greater Accra region. Apart from that, he served in 3, 4 of the other regions.
Okay.
Upper West, Volta region, and the rest, which is very key.
Let's keep which is good. Other key thing that you're looking at for him.
So he's done 34 years.
That's more than all the others.
More than all the others. So he would end up still doing more than the others because then, if you look at his age, he's 56, right? He's 56.
Yes.
And so he's going to be 54. So he has, what do you call it?
6 more years.
More years to go. So he would have been doing.
And yet he's already done 34 years.
Thank you. So he would be 40 before he retires.
And so he has time on his side.
So you can see he's called
8.5
which is good, yes.
Okay.
And administration.
He's been there. I mean, traffic officers,
done what he has to do.
Public organizations.
Yes. But
coordinated Ghana's hosting of Cannes 2008. Yes. That's the key one.
I'm sure you didn't know that, and most of our viewers probably would not know. And that is the essence of this work.
And operations is the key thing.
Yes.
We know that he's one
of the operations, yes, we know. I mean, he actually was the director of operations in 2000 and during the 2016 elections.
He scored 6 over.
He scored 6.
6 over 15.
6 over 15. And the reason is that others have done other things and looking at the scheme.
Okay.
He
this
is
comparatively.
More, yes, comparatively.
Okay.
Correct.
Good. Now.
So this is where COP
Yohonu, I guess, outshines all the others.
Outshines all the others.
So Abeka past daylight robbery.
We are told the guy has that one is like a wizard when it comes to arresting criminals. I mean, when we spoke to
people,
his own colleagues.
Okay.
They thought this is the guy who catches all the bad guys. Leave him, and he will catch the bad guys.
I see.
And so
attack of Kabanya police and cell breaking.
There are so many of them.
Robbery at Royal Motors, North Kandishi, he has the people. Robbery and killing of Lebanese national intima has the people. Arrest of suspected ISIS operative has the people. And score him 13.5.
Over 15.
Over 15.
And so you will realize that ISIS is now becoming an issue. I mean, terrorism.
Yeah.
And so probably he's the only police couple.
However he did that arrest must be something we can learn from.
Exactly. So he's probably the only security couple now who, when you look at maybe the profile, as we got from the police sources, led the team that got this ISIS operative arrested.
Let's see his
international exposure. He didn't do too well.
Okay, so that's why he gave him 3 over 10.
So he got 3 over 10. He's went to, you know, East Timor. He's done some work in, you know, Bosnia, Herzegovina.
But others have done far more.
Others have done far more. So you now see how compared. Yes, and so he did 3 over 10.
Yeah.
And then when you move on, you have legacies. He's done quite some work when it comes to legacies. Introduced the informant reward system. You will realize that internationally, informants are being used to catch the bad guys, either they are drug addicts, either they are, you know, terrorists, or they are fraudsters and whatever. And so to have introduced that in, you know, policing, which is being used today, I mean, he definitely would have done something good.
Okay.
And we have to talk about legacy. We rated them using legacy because we don't want police couples who come in
and do nothing,
and they just leave. No, they don't know nothing to.
That we can
so he had 6 over 10, which is not bad.
Okay, and let's
so
see
when you go on to his
rank is key as well.
You know,
and
you can see them,
major arrests and operations,
major arrests and all that.
And then you score him 65.
So he had the highest
of them all.
He had. So if you are talking about, you know, the rating in terms of the analysis, COP Christian Yohonu got 65, stands out among his peers.
So what you're saying, as far as say feedback you got from the 7 police officers, former IGPs, and the retired officers, the Yohonu is your man.
Well, yes. Okay. Per the analysis, yes.
So if the president was going to use the criteria you used, and also do a certain on the ground research and put this here to the ground.
Honest analysis, and not just look into your face and allow lobbyists to lobby.
So Yohonu should be
per the analysis. Per the analysis.
Okay. So he has 65.5 overall percent.
Correct.
So that is the final analysis on the 5. Remember the short list had moved from all the 12 who are COPs.
Correct.
And based on the feedback that came from the officers,
11 COPs and 1 deputy IGP.
Good. From the feedback that came from the 7 officers, former IGPs and retired officers, it narrowed down to 5. And out of the 5, that analysis, and from the analysis, as Adam Bonaa has stated, it appears Mr. Yohonu is a favored.
Yes. In terms of scientifically, you will realize that
the issues that you use to analyze
correct.
Out of the 5. And so that's where we are with this. When we return from the quick break, we'll quickly delve into. We'll bring you in. Our listeners into the conversation, because regardless of what you just heard, you've already been engaging in a poll. You've already been telling us who your favorite person is. You're recommending who the IGP should be. We'll tell you what you said yourself, whether it tallies with what the analysis had just said. And we'll also hear from you know, the retired superintendent Paul Yuvi, who's also with us, and we'll also hear from Emmanuel Kotia. Also, want to stay with us here on Ghana Con. When we return, we'll hear from you. Let me quickly bring in Paul Yuvi. He's a superintendent, a retired superintendent. You've had analysis. You've written an interesting article in 2015 that I've read. Very interesting as well about you want real hard criteria for the appointment of the IGP. He's done something in terms of fishing out. What do you make of it? What's your comment on what you just said?
Well, I read all the viewers, and I think it's a remarkable research work. I had wished the police service research unit had been doing all these things over the years, because they will have had more in-depth information than what he had given us. But it's quite remarkable, and it's very insightful. And then it's a way of probably leading the way for governments or the police council in taking some of these decisions. So he should be commended for the effort he has put in.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your own comment on some of the outcomes? And by the way, this is a summary on your screen there. You can see the chart in the background. Yeah. That's a summary of it. Let's put it up on the screen. Let's speak to it. So the summary, as you can see on your screen, Yohonu 65.5%, and the graph tells you the story. What's your comment on this? The individuals that will have been shortlisted, 5 of them. Because you know them.
Yeah, I know them.
Some of them were your colleagues?
No,
all of them.
They are juniors to me.
How many years were you in the service? All together, I know you were also at the BNI. 38.
Yes.
Okay, so that's...
So, the only person who can beat him will be Yohonu after Yohonu has retired.
Retired, okay.
I was ASP when Vic Sanziri and Kofi Boachi came in. I was ASP then.
Okay.
Before they came in.
That's 30. That's a long time.
Yeah, but because I rose to the ranks from constable, corporal, sergeant, inspector to chief inspector before I went to college. Okay. But they came in as graduates.
So thankfully, unlike him, you know them personally, I guess. So you've seen the 5. Give me your verdict.
It's leadership we are talking about.
Yes.
A leader who must have the trust of the men. A leader who must give the men hope. A leader who must be a man of influence, who will move the people along to probably achieve the vision that he has for the police. It's not, well, educational qualification, fine, but leadership is not too much about educational qualification.
I will ask you, when you say leadership for the police at this time, I don't want us to say police and forget the unique time we are in. I think we need to situate the next IGP within the context of the kind of crime situation that we are talking about today. And so I'll come to you to define for me, when you say leader, what real qualities defines a police leader as in the IGP. I want to bring in Emmanuel Kotia, who is joining us, connecting with us on Skype. Hello, Mr. Kotia. Thank you for your time here on Ghana Connect. And I am happy that you're connecting with us on Skype. You can see him in the background there. I don't know if you've been listening to the analysis we've done and the criteria used. Your quick comment on that.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners. But it's a very remarkable work my colleagues have done, and he needs to be commended for such a very beautiful job. But I think there are some flaws we need to look at. And when I come to the actual analysis, I'll point out those flaws.
I wanted to go there. I wanted to go there now because of time. Let's go for the jugular.
Well, you realize he focused on the positivities and didn't delve into the negativities. And in as much as you are looking for a good leader, you must look at infractions these commissioners have had.
In other words, look at the weaknesses and look at the strengths.
Exactly. So I think that if you look at these 5 commissioners, there's very little you can choose among them. But you realize that over the period, we have not given women the opportunity to lead our police service. And I have been of the opinion that one of the problems we are not developing as a country is as a result of we not carrying our women along. I made this argument before. If you look at the advanced and developed economies, they have empowered their women. In Africa here, we are talking about Rwanda. You realize Rwanda have carried its women along, having 60% of women in parliament. I think that if you look at 2 lady commissioners, among the lot of commissioners who are men, it is about time as a country we have a woman to lead the police service. Leadership is not only about the kind of analysis my colleague did, even though I admire those analyses. As an IGP, you are not to go onto the ground to do most of the things we are analyzing. You need to show leadership. And leadership doesn't necessarily mean going down.
Okay.
And there's one remarkable thing we didn't even mention. If you look at Mamitiwa, her instrumental role in bringing peace to Dagbon was overlooked in this analysis. And I'm sure because it was intelligence-led and people didn't see her, I was in Dagbon. And for the first time, it is in Dagbon I met the woman. The woman that I so chastised. You remember the A-class
incident
saga?
Yeah.
When I met her and greeted her, I said, look, I'm Emmanuel Coaching, the security analyst. She didn't even know I existed. You understand? This is the kind of woman we are talking about. So to me, if you look at her as well, she has more years. And what the Ghana Police Service have lacked over the period is somebody who will have enough time to execute proper regime within the service to move it forward. You realize that Apeatu, they had to give him a contract extension to make sure he can see some of his policies through. That is, in itself, is not an incentive to men and women who are serving in the service. That is why, as much as I felt that the position should go between the two ladies, Madam Benziri is disqualified because she just has a year to go. So to me, if you look at Kofi Bachi, I've seen a lot of campaign on social media and those kind of things. If you delve back into his record with reference to the cocaine saga, it doesn't sit well with a lot of the people. You know, he went on suspension over a period.
Yes.
And it didn't take a lawful court to reinstate him, but a political decision by a particular administration. Unlike Madam Theodora Wood's case, where she went to the court, the proper legal instruments were followed, and they compelled the police administration to reinstate her. So to me, Mamiti was stand tall among all of them.
So let me ask a direct question, and I'll come to Poivri on this. So, who is your money on?
My money is on Mamitua, because if you look at the grades between 60 and 65, and the grading, they may equally fall under, all of them may equally fall under a B or a B minus.
Okay.
And there's no any difference between those grading.
That's Emmanuel Kutin, is Executive Director, Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism. Poivri, you put this down to leadership, but I want you to define for me what you mean by leadership and make it very specific, because there are things that you expect of an IGP. What are these things that you count as leadership?
You know, everything rises and falls with leadership. And a leader, a police leader, for me, must know what policing is. He must understand what policing is. You know, policing is not about just law enforcement. It's more about an art, a way of life or philosophy that is governed, that is strengthened with character and experience. It is also, should also be broadened by learning and training. And then, above all, the person must be an independent, judicial, critical thinker, a person who is full of wisdom, a person who is courageous, a person who is assertive, you know.
I think that is very important for you.
Yeah.
Also because of the potential for our political appointees to try and control the service. We've seen some brave police officers publicly state that.
So the person must have the trust of the men, the police officers, and be able to move them and give them hope.
Okay.
You see, somebody who, like I said, is independent, critical thinker, a person who is assertive, is not cowed.
Has a mind of his own.
Yeah, man of his, not cowed by politicians or anybody who will try to influence or push him or her about.
Is there someone like that amongst those who qualify?
I have worked with some, and looking at them, looking at all of them, if except you don't want, I don't want to mention names.
No, we should. A decision will be made. A name will be mentioned by the president.
Yeah.
Hopefully, his people are listening, and
Yeah.
the public views must count for
Yeah,
something.
in terms of critical thinking, assertiveness, I think Kofi Boakye stands tall among all of them. Because I've worked with him before. This stadium disaster thing, he was a member of the committee, and I've worked with him in other operations, and I think he's assertive, he's critical thinker, and he's not cowardly. I mean, he speaks his mind boldly.
This is, just for emphasis,
Yeah.
which of the individuals are you talking about?
Kofi
Just for-
Boakye.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your money is on Kofi Boakye.
Yeah.
Your money is on Kofi Boakye. Okay. Now I guess it's time now for me to outdoor the poll results. Your analysis says Yohonu, based on his knowledge of the individual, because he's worked with them, he's been there for 38 years before he retired. He says Kofi Boakye. Emmanuel Kuting, who joined us, is also connecting via Skype, says his money is on Mame Tewa. So it's a very nicely balanced.
Yes, very good.
We have one woman in there, we have Kofi Boakye, and we have Yohonu. So what did the public decide? And this is very interesting. What did the public decide? And we did 3 separate polls. One on my Joy Online, one on the Joy FM, Facebook page, another one on the JoyNews Facebook page, and we put all together. We aggregated all that. What you see on the screen is just a My Joy Online one, but this, what I'm going to tell you, is an aggregated one, and so that is, and we had a total of 1,694 of you joining in that poll, telling us what you think, and we put up all the names. We added one name, and I'll come back to ask you why you excluded a name from your list. We added COP George Akufo-Dampare to the list and asked the public to vote. When polls ended, out of the 1,694 of you who voted, at the very bottom of the list, the person who got the least votes is COP Beatrice Zanziri. She got 9, the aggregated poll. She got only 9. Only 9 people voted for her to be the IGP.
Okay.
Okay. The next, I'm starting from the bottom up. The next least votes went to the deputy IGP, James Opombueno. He had 16 votes. Only 16 people said he should be the next IGP. The next least votes went to Christian Yohonu, right? He had only 27 people voting for him to be the next IGP. 27 people out of 1,694. Only 27 people voted for him to be the next IGP. So, and remember, there are 6 names that we put up there. And so from the bottom, COP Beatrice Zanziri, COP James Opombueno, the deputy IGP, and Christian Yohonu. Those are the 3 bottom. Let's go to the upper third. The fourth is Mame Tewa Adodankwa, 46 votes. She had 46 votes. COP Mame Tewa Adodankwa had 46 votes. Only 46 people out of 1,694 said Mame Tewa should be the next IGP. So she was 4th. The fifth person is COP George Akufo-Dampare, who was not part of your analysis. I'll ask you why, by the way. He was the 5th person. He was a 5th person. He got the second highest number of votes. He had 106 votes. 106 votes for COP George Akufo-Dampare. People said he should be the next IGP. The obvious winner by an overwhelming majority to be the next IGP, according to those who participated in our poll, went to the obvious choice for them, went to your man, COP Kofi Boakye. And the votes he got staggering. 1,485 people voted in the collective polls of Joy FM, JoyNews, and my Joy Online portals, and said Kofi Boateng should be the next IGP. And so this is it's not scientific.
Yeah.
Has to be said. It just gives you an indication of what people are thinking about. These 1,694 people who participated in our poll, overwhelming majority of them, 1,485 of you who participated said COP Kofi Boateng should be the next IGP. Your reaction quickly. Give me 30 seconds reaction to this.
Well, I think as if they were
in your mind.
In my mind,
okay.
In a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because for you, the reason why you chose him because you think he's assertive.
Yeah.
He can stand up to political authority. He has a mind of his own.
Yeah.
And of course, he's qualified.
Yeah.
Okay. Your reaction?
Well, my reaction, I don't know whether Kutin is still.
Do you have Kutin still on connecting? Okay. I'll come to you shortly for his on. He's listening to you.
I think he raised issues about we didn't talk about negatives, the weaknesses. We didn't because with regards to some of these allegations that were leveled against people, you cannot say, for instance, to say COP Kofi Boateng is alleged to have done
none of it was proven in a court of competent
and it has not been proven. And so how do you use, and this is a very scientific analysis we are doing. We are not conjecturing. And so then you cannot bring things that cannot be substantiated. And so, and there again, he raised issues about, what do you call that, women. This is not speaking in a vacuum, because then we needed to speak to police officers. Very difficult to get them. 522 who were asked to answer 10 sets of questions. And out of that, we needed to scale the number down to five. And so I wasn't involved in the interviews.
Okay.
I mean, they should have actually given you a picture of the analysts who did the analysis. They did them with, two per person. And so, I mean, some of these people are people I know. So I didn't get involved in, analyzing, give this, that, do this. And so mine is that this is probably scientific, and therefore you cannot begin to speak out of. If you ask me, who probably, without this, who should have been the next IGP? Maybe I would have been mentioning somebody else.
Okay. So give me your quick comment on. So that's the analysis you've done.
After this analysis, the results are there, because then the analysis with regards to what the public,
is
perception.
Thinking. Yeah. Well, your reaction to that?
That is important, but the truth is that as an IGP, your first, customers are police officers. And so if it's not like a political office where you go and vote, the general public votes for an IGP, you need an IGP who serving police officers have trust in and would believe that when he leaves them, welfare and other things are going to be enhanced. But if you have somebody who is IGP and the police officers are not probably cannot follow him, then we are going to be in trouble. And so this is more scientific than probably, some of the observations. So we are looking at a situation where we could not have tweaked this and tweaked that and tweaked that.
We're just taking it from what.
Yes, and so for me, and I think you raised an issue about Dr. Akufu.
Yeah, why was he not part of the analysis?
The initial 12, he was part of it.
Okay.
But just like I said, we needed to hear from police officers. And when the interviews were finished, they scaled it down using, a particular, the yardstick we were using. Okay. They scaled it down. And you cannot include,
I get it.
You can't include others when, this is what the criteria. And so
I get what you're saying.
Yes.
I get what it's research. You're saying,
yes.
Paul.
Yeah, what I want to add is that in all these things, if there's no legal framework is provided for the appointments of the IGP, it's not going to, it's going to be the political interference. So at least the tenure of office, the criteria, and then the probably making it possible for officers who qualify to apply. And then they go through an interview, and then they are shortlisted. Those who are shortlisted, they apply other things. And then at the final round, the one who is selected by the president must go to parliament for vetting. I mean, so that a legal framework is provided, which will be standing, so that if any government comes, the law is there. The job description of the IGP must be known to police officers and the general
that's why
public.
you call for the amendment of the police service,
yes,
the act
because,
that governs the service.
Because if the public even don't know the job description of an IGP, how are they going to hold him accountable?
Yeah.
Now, the other point is that apart from the term of office, there must be grounds for removal, which is also legal, so that
it's not there?
No, nothing is there. I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing there.
So those are interesting thoughts going forward. That is the bigger picture, I guess, in reforming the police service. And I must say thank you, Bonaa, for the work that you put in.
Thank you.
Paul, thank you. And also the Emmanuel Kuting who joined us earlier. And over 1,000 of you who joined the conversation on many social media platforms telling us who you think the next IGP should be. Listen, we know that it's only the president who has the final say in appointing, in consultation with the Council of State. Yes, he has the mandate to do this. And the work that you heard earlier, the presentation, Adam Bonaa and his team took it up to do it themselves in aid of democracy. Because as Ghana progresses, we need to get to a point, as Paul we had stated, where we get to a point where we are more scientific in the appointment of these very important individuals. He even is recommending people should be interviewed, apply, and subject to scrutiny before they get the nod. And so the most qualified, meritocracy, I guess is the word it uses.
Yes.
It has to be on merit and not simply because a politician likes him.
Or you go to lobby.
And so I guess it's part of helping this conversation on to where I guess we all aspire to be in point of getting somebody who will lead the police service that will guarantee our safety and security. And so, yes, we wait for the president to make the decision in consultation with the Council of State, but the public's voice is definitely important because he's making that choice on our behalf. And you've spoken very loudly in our poll, and you've heard the analysis as well. Let's see who becomes the next IGP and if he meets any of the criteria. Hopefully, I've learned a lot from this conversation. I hope you have too. I'm sure you have your own views and disagreements. That's fine. It's part of democracy. I'm grateful that you joined us on Ghana Connect, a special edition of Ghana Connect tonight. We'll end now because we have another program coming up. And let's keep the conversation going on myjoyonline.com, on our many social media platforms, and let's see who the next IGP is. Thank you very much for connecting. My name is Evan Spencer.